Ladies and gents, welcome back once again. All things covered. Bryant McFadden, Patrick Peterson, another entertaining show for you guys to digest and talk about, laugh about, have fun with. Once again, Pat P, got another entertaining, outstanding guest. I know you fired up. As you guys see us right now on your screen, you see our guest right now. LSU alum, LSU great, 13-year NFL vet, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champ, my former teammate also with the Pittsburgh Steelers, now currently ESPN football analyst, host of the Pivot Podcast. No other than the great living legend, Ryan Clark.
Yeah, money, 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 money. Ain't that funny? I got haters. Yeah, they watching, but I know they love me. Money, 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 money. Ain't that funny? I got haters. Yeah, they watching, but I know they love me. Riding around the city, plastic cup of C-Rock. Bigger and I'm blacker. I am on that Chris Rock.
RC, man, thank you for joining
Man,
us. How you feeling?
I don't know if I've ever gotten an introduction that was quite that good, man. That was excellent.
Gotta get your phone cooking. What you mean? You fam, so we got to make sure we lay the carpet out for you and drop the flowers like you on Coming to America when you walk.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. I was actually walking through LSU. We went to do the coaches clinic. The Pivot did, and I was walking through, man, looking at the walls, the Pat Petersons, Corey Websters, Jamarcus Russells, LaRon Landry's, like the names go on. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, like I'm probably never going to go into like some Hall of Fame anywhere. Like you look at LSU, Pittsburgh Steelers, all of those things, and it really tells you just how blessed you are to be a part of those sorts of universities and organizations. When you look at all the people, that have come through Baton Rouge, obviously all the people that came through the South Side facility in Pittsburgh, BMac, man, it tells us how lucky we truly were to be a part of those things.
Yeah, man. And first and foremost, we gotta hit on this contract because we gotta congratulate you for signing a new with the ESPN.
Hey, Pat, on RC, baby.
No, RC, I gotta know because you've been on both sides. You negotiated a contract on the football field. You negotiated a contract on the TV side. What was more nerve wracking for you doing those negotiations? The football negotiations or the TV negotiations?
I don't know. I think TV a little more because like I did this contract myself. So I negotiated myself. I had those conversations with legal at ESPN. I had those conversations with other networks and other entities that wanted to sort of pick my brain and see would I be willing to leave ESPN and work with them. I was actually offered my own show, which is something that I would love to do one day as well. And so it was a lot of things.
Network, or was that with your current?
No, with another network.
Okay.
With another network. I was actually offered that somebody wanted to start a network and build it around me, give me equity in it. And so it was a lot of good conversations that I was able to have because I took my time, because I didn't let ESPN force me to re-sign. I didn't let ESPN force me into signing an extension. And I thought it would be good to have the conversations with people that truly let me know where I stood, where people felt I was in the media business. And so I think that one was a little harder because I had to work more. But, man, like football is our first love. Like I love TV. No, I don't love TV. I love some of the things I do in TV. I obviously love the pivot, the conversations we're able to have. But like television is a job for me. Right. And so in it being a job, like I approach it like business. Football wasn't a job for me. Football was my passion. Like football was the first thing I ever loved. And so I think I was a little bit more understanding of like football because I understood I was undrafted. Right. As good as I was in Pittsburgh, I understood I wasn't Troy. As good as I was in Washington, I understood I wasn't Sean. And so I think that some of those things were a little easier for me to accept. And, and I say this, like I try to say this, it's hard to say this and not sound arrogant or confident. But in this world, like I am Troy, in this world, I am Sean, and so when I have those conversations, I have those from that perspective as well. And so it's a different conversation. Whereas that, man, like I just wanted to play BMac and Pat P. I wanted to be on the team. I wanted to have an opportunity to win championships. I want to have an opportunity to contribute. And that was just what I focused on. And shoot, y'all know at that time, bro, that was the most money I'd ever seen anyway. Right? It was all life changing to me. And I think it, allowed me to set my family up in a great place.
So when you wanted to really take on head first with the TV avenue, I see that you have a show with DC. That's dope. Now you're in the UFC. What made you wanted to go in that route? Wanted to, I guess, broaden your
horizons.
Your horizons in a sense.
I love MMA, bro. Like, I just do. I've always watched it. When I was playing in the league, I trained. I trained jiu-jitsu. I trained at Kempo. I would watch like UFC, like greatest knockout DVDs with Jordan. Like honestly, Jordan's a nutcase. Like he wants to fight. I keep telling him he's crazy. To want to do that. But like that's just how much we were into it. DC's from Lafayette. And so when they called me and asked me if I was going to do it, BMac, like they added it to my contract. It was 40 more weeks of work, and they only gave me $50,000 to do it. It wasn't like, I don't think they thought it would work, or they thought it would last, and it did, man. And I actually don't do it anymore. We stopped after my contract ended, just because like it didn't make monetary sense. But I miss it. Like that was one of my favorite things I got to do, and it was tough because at first people didn't accept me, right? Like, what does this former football player know about the UFC? And so I had to learn to like navigate that show as a fan of the UFC, be very respectful of the men and women who competed, right? Because I can't do what they do. I don't want to do what they do. So I had to be respectful of that, but also work my way into being an authority as well while you're on there with one of the greatest fighters of all time. And so it was cool, man, to sort of have to navigate that. Like that's what I'm looking for now. You guys will see it soon. I'm producing something right now, executive producing a documentary that I'm hoping to sell this off season. And so for me,
a documentary of who?
I can't tell you yet. I can't tell you yet, but it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope.
You're gonna have to text me when we done.
Yeah,
I keep it always zip tight.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll text it to you. But
yep.
my ultimate goal and the reason I wanted to get into producing, one is like I want to create content. I want to tell the stories about people that I think need to have their stories told, which is why we do the pivot as well. But like my ultimate goal is to produce a documentary on Sean and his life and his passing and his legacy with Jackie. And for me, it's get as much experience doing things as I possibly can in situations where people will allow me to learn, allow me to contribute. And so this is the first piece of that. So for me, Pat P, it's about like in football, right? Like the only difference, like the only thing we could do different than playing is if we go coach. And then if we don't go coach, it's if we go scout. And then if we don't scout, if we scout enough, we could be general managers. Maybe one day one of us will make enough money where we could be a part of ownership. But in this world, we get to do that, right? In this world, we don't always have to be the hired help. We don't always have to be the labor. And, that's what I'm just seeing is, ownership and opportunities to create are just as important as having enough talent to be in front of the camera and entertain.
Yeah, that's dope. Well, you already know how I feel about everything you've done, in your post-NFL career. It's inspiring, it's encouraging. The avenues you've paved, for other people to follow your footsteps is important. That's trend setting. You know what I mean? That's monumental. So keep doing what you're doing. You're great at it. You always know
Thank you,
we're
brother.
going to support you from our end. I'm definitely going to support you. So
yes, sir.
Keep knocking down the doors, and I can't wait to hear who this documentary will be about. But old Maggie Mac, I can't say nothing. I'm sworn to secrecy, but I can't wait to hear. But that's dope. RC, before we get into some football talk, college women basketball has all eyes on them, in the words of Tupac. I mean, deserving so. The sport has really transcended into an area that many people thought we would never see. Most recently, we saw the Final Four matchup, the championship game featuring Iowa against South Carolina. Even though Caitlyn lost in the title game again, where is she when you look at the all-time greats in women's college basketball?
No, it's hard, right? Because you have people like Maya, people like Diana, who actually won championships.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go back to the Cheryl Millers and the Lisa Leslies, Dawn Staley, 3-time All-American, but never won a championship.
Yep.
You know, we didn't necessarily talk about Dawn the way we talk about Caitlyn. I think Caitlyn's impact, one, I do believe she's one of the greats to play the women's college game. We can't call her the greatest for sure. She's had the biggest impact on the game, though.
Yep.
Right? Caitlyn Clark has brought a visibility to the women's game like we'd never seen. And let's be honest. You remember when not the one championship Bron won when he had Kyrie, but them other championships in Cleveland with like Deladova, Boobie Miles, all them times they was going and the Warriors was busting them upside the head.
Yep.
BMac, them teams weren't championship rosters.
Now that roster wasn't good.
Iowa's roster is not a championship roster, bro.
Facts.
Like Martin, who was their second best player, some game Stokey, the center, like she said it. She was like, I wasn't a 5-star. Like I wasn't an All-American. I grew up with an Iowa poster on my wall, right? Like those girls just worked hard. When you think about them beating LSU, right? Caitlyn Clark was the best player on the floor. The next 5 played for LSU. Right? You even go to South Carolina. Caitlyn Clark's the best player on the floor. The next 8 played for South Carolina.
Heck, the next 10.
Yeah. You know
the next 10.
And so I think we also have to think about, you know, what she was able to do, what she was able to accomplish at Iowa. And it's weird. It seems like now she's starting to get a little pushback because people maybe think she gets too much applause or she gets too much positivity. But, you know, there were times during this tournament, bro, I felt like about Caitlyn Clark, how I felt Steph Curry. When she missed the open shot, I was like, dang, I can't believe she missed it. You know? And so I think she's one of the greats to play the game. I don't believe you can call her the greatest because she didn't win it. But you also have to look at those Taurasi teams, those Maya Moore teams, those teams at Tennessee with Candace Parker, who's one of the greats of all time.
Shamika
Holsclaws, the Tamika Catchings.
Yeah.
Like those teams had other pros on their teams.
Yep.
Everybody on Iowa is going to have a regular job but Caitlyn Clark.
Yeah. And maybe Stokes when it's her time because I think she's a sophomore.
Stokes, yeah, she's a good player. And she's tall. She plays hard. She can finish, good hands. But, you know, like Caitlyn Clark really, you know, took a team that probably was an NIT sort of roster without her and brought them to 2 finals in a row, man. So I think kudos to her. And I do love what Dawn Staley did as well.
Yeah.
Dawn Staley understood she had the better team. She had the best team the entire season. But she also recognized that 18 million people don't watch the championship game if Caitlyn Clark doesn't play for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
No question. No question.
And, you know, and to be honest, BMac, like, she did that all on hooping. Like, she don't have, like, a story to attach yourself to. It's not all of this charisma and personality off the court. It's like, man, when I get out there, I'm an absolute dog. I'm going to go at whoever I'm playing. And I think that resonated with people, man. So my hat's off to her for what she was able to do for the women's game.
I know my individual, you know, look at Caitlyn Clark. I agree. I'm not going to say she is the greatest. It's hard to kind of put who is the greatest based on what you watch. Say it again, Pat P.
Greatest shooter.
Oh, no question. It's Steph Curry and then her. That's how I see it. It's Chef Curry and Caitlyn and whoever else want to follow. You know, that's how I see it. You know, and based on the difficulties of her shot that she makes so easily, as you mentioned, Ryan, when she missed, you surprised that she missed. Anytime she steps across half court, she can make a shot from anyone on the court. So when they look at the ranking, I think Cheryl Miller would probably be like the number 1. You know, Breanna Stewart, you know, you can throw in there. But I think if you had to do a Mount Rushmore, this is just my personal list. I would include Caitlyn Clark, even though she didn't win. And the reason why is because she was asked to do more with less, as you mentioned, Ryan. Her roster is not like any other roster that we watch when you look at some of the teams that made it to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8, including the Final Four, right? And then her impact, not just the hooping.
Yep.
Just she changed college women's basketball forever.
Man, yeah.
And just her style of play and just how entertaining it is.
My question would be this, though.
What you got?
Does this, what Caitlyn Clark has allowed the women's game to become, does it continue in her absence?
I think so, because college basketball is in a good place women-wise because they have a lot of young stars that we know. You know what I mean? Juju. We all know who Juju is out in SC. The young point guard from Notre Dame. Can go to school with son Jordan.
Hannah Hidalgo.
Yes, can go. Right?
Yeah.
You look at some of the other elite players in the ACC. You got Kelly at North Carolina who's going to transfer. I just saw. You know, so there are a lot of names that we recognize. And for us, when you talk about sports, most people are more inclined to watch people who they know or know of.
Yeah, you're right.
So this up-and-coming class, like, we're losing some greats to the WNBA. Caitlyn Clark, Reese,
Angel Reese,
the young lady out in Stanford. So this
Cardoso,
Cardoso. But it's in a good place because you got some young go-getters coming up as well. So I think we're going to continue to have this entertaining flow. And she was the foundational piece.
Yeah, bro.
In my opinion. So her impact will forever be felt, which is hard to kind of overlook when you talk about a Mount Rushmore like list. If you were to talk about Mount Rushmore, even though she didn't win. And another thing, my final piece and why I would include her in my Mount Rushmore is because she had to work. When she came out of high school, she wasn't considered one of the best. You remember she said she wanted to go to UConn. UConn ain't offer her because she wasn't like that. So the Caitlyn Clark that was in high school put forth an unbelievable effort to become the Caitlyn Clark that we're watching now.
Yeah.
You know, Juju was a 5-star coming out of high school, could go wherever. You know, look at some of the other elite players that we've watched currently and in the past. They were 5 stars. You know what I mean? So they were already like that. You know, she had to really.
Yeah, but the other thing is this too. Like, she was top 5 now. It was Paige. It was Cardoso. It was the young lady from Stanford. Her name escapes me right now. And it was Angel Reese. And I think they didn't recruit her at UConn because they were going to get Paige. Paige was the #1 player in the country, and she should have been. You know, I also think, like, playing on a team that everything had to run through her made her a better player.
Yeah, I can see that.
Too. Yeah, it was sort of like, you step up, and if you you're going to get the shots.
Right.
You're going to get the opportunities. You're the only big-time player we have on this team, and we'll build everything around you. And you kind of saw that manifest. Like, Paige was so used to playing in the flow. In that Final Four game, when they needed a shot, she would dish it. She would move around. You know, when Iowa need a shot, if you don't double her, she's shooting it.
Hey, you know, and also too for Caitlyn, every game she had to, in the final in March Madness, it's almost like every game she had to ball out.
She had to have 30. A bit more. She had to have
her A game. Yeah. You know, some of the other players that we're talking about, they could afford to not be have their A game and still win.
Right.
If Caitlyn don't have her A game, you know, they don't make it as far as they made it. So it's a great discussion, and I love it for women's sports because
good.
We're talking about women's sports. You know, we're talking about college women's basketball. And I'm excited for the WNBA draft, RC.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm not finna see none of UConn Purdue. Like, I ain't see none of them.
You about to watch none of it?
Man, I'm gonna catch the highlights. I'm not watching that.
Hey, RC, I bet you watched that South Carolina Iowa game though.
Yeah, I watched that, but I ain't watching no freaking I'm not watching that. Iowa and South Carolina, I was at brunch and I was like, y'all gotta change this TV.
Right.
I don't know who in here want to watch golf, but that's not what we're doing. I'm in my car riding to the house, watching it on the phone. And I think it was part Caitlyn Clark, but also, like, think about how smart the bracketologists are, bro. The brackets were set up where possibly the Iowa was going to face LSU, UConn, and South Carolina.
Yeah.
Right? We got to make sure LSU is the 3 in your bracket because y'all got to play them.
Yeah.
right? Y'all got to play them. We're going to put South Carolina on the other side, so that could be our chip if both of y'all do what we hope y'all do.
Great
Oh my
schedule.
God. The bracketology was perfect.
Yeah,
And
great
then
schedule.
those young women went out and did what they had to do.
Yeah, no question.
Well, sticking with ladies basketball, Emmanuel Acho made headlines after LSU Tigers lost to Iowa, who we were just speaking about. Acho responds to Angel Reese post-game comments. He said, Angel Reese, you can't be the big bad wolf and cry like the cowardly dog. Because if you want to act grown, which she has, if you want to get paid like you're grown, which you are, if you want to talk to grown folks like you're grown, which you did post game, when you told the coach to watch, when you told the coach from the opposite team to watch your mouth, if you want to tell people to get your money up, then post game wins and take a L, or just getting to taking it on a chin. Nobody moans when the villain takes an L. RC, how do you feel about Emmanuel Acho comments?
He called me. We talked about it. Man, like I think we understand that this is about entertainment, right? Our jobs are entertainment. Some things shouldn't be used to entertain. And I would think my biggest thought on that is Angel Reese never once complained about a coach, right? If he's saying she said certain things to coaches, I never heard Angel Reese complain about a coach.
Mm.
If he's saying she talked trash and told people to get her money up, I never heard her complain when people talk trash to her. I never heard her complain about other people getting NIL deals. All I've ever seen or heard Angel Reese do is continue to empower everyone in the women's game to be more than what people expected them to be. To continue to push the envelopes in the boxes that people have put women's basketball players or women athletes in. And so to say that nobody's crying, I don't think, and now y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, just because I'm good at hooping and I talk my trash, same way Caitlyn Clark does, that doesn't mean I should get death threats.
No.
That doesn't mean I should be I should have to be a target of racism. And to me, the comments were insensitive because, bro, everybody cries when they lose in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't get to be emotional about the game that you've given so much to? And if you watch the post-game interview, Flau'jae, Van Lith, all of these young women were talking about all the things Angel Reese had gone through that she'd never said anything about.
Right.
Right? Think about winning a Super Bowl, losing a Super Bowl, or winning an award, losing an award. When somebody gives you a microphone, it's an opportunity to be retrospective in your perspective and share from a broader lens, because when we're in it, both of y'all being high level athletes understand this, the tunnel vision is on winning.
Mm.
Once you take away winning, now I can look at things with a broader view and share from that perspective, which is what she did. And so I thought it was one of those things where a person tries to be like very intelligent. But, let's be honest about who Emmanuel is. And I told him this on the phone. I was like, bro, it didn't bother me because I already know who you are.
Mm.
One, I don't think he has ill intent in his heart, but he also didn't grow up like us.
Mm.
Right? He is first generation American of Nigerian parents. Right? So they didn't grow up facing some of the racism or seeing some of the things or feeling some of the things your parents did or your parents did or my parents did. Right? They grew up being told that they could be anything they want to be because they believe that. I grew up being told that I can be anything I want to be, but in order to be anything I want to be, I got to be that much better than them.
Mm.
I got to be smarter. I got to be cleaner. I got to work harder. I got to do all those things. And so there is a natural inclination to feel things or protect things that we are familiar with and that we grasp onto that he doesn't, which I knew. And so when we talked about it, like I got what he was trying to do, and I also understood where he wasn't connected to it, as we are. But I think it was the wrong perspective to give, and probably in that case, the wrong person to be giving it.
Yeah. And so do you think, because obviously we never really seen Angel in a vulnerable position that she was after a loss, because we seen her win it, won a national championship last year.
Yeah.
I really never heard about it when she was at Maryland, wherever she was before that. So we always saw the villain. Like, she's not a villain, but people saw her as the villain. But seeing her in that vulnerable position, do you think people or Emmanuel was like, aha, now that it caught up with you, now we don't want to see you crying on television when you're acting big and bad when you're taking W's.
I mean, that's stupid though,
Right, I
right?
agree.
Because don't we all, like, our experiences or whatever actions or whatever time or season we're in shape our reaction,
Right.
right? Like if I walk into a room and when I walk into the room, everybody's light, everybody's happy, and they speak to me, I'm going to return that energy.
Right.
If I walk into the room and everybody mother effing me, then I'm gonna throw hands. Like that's just how it works, right? Like that's just what it is. If I see Pat P and Brian McFadden on a day that they win the Super Bowl, as opposed to a day that they lose it, I'm going to get two different reactions from
Right.
those humans. Like
that ain't no good feeling.
right. We've been there, man.
That ain't no
You
good
know what I'm
feeling.
saying?
Yeah.
Like that's life. And I do believe that some people thought it was like the aha moment. But I said this last week when we talked about it on the show, was that like people always look for a reason that you lost a game rather than like the other team play better.
Right.
What about that? Right? Like I saw a tweet.
That
I
can't
saw
never
a
be
tweet.
the case.
Right, yeah, I saw a tweet and they were like, this is what happens when you don't stand for the anthem. Man, get the F out of here.
Right.
That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Like, that's stupid, right?
Yeah.
But people are always trying to say, like, this is why this happened, this is why that happened. And other thing is, too, who made Angel Reese the villain? Why is she the villain? Is she the villain because America has told black women they shouldn't be proud of being that color and being that gender, and so her being proud of it makes her a villain? Her
Yep.
living in that truth makes her a villain, or does she have to be the villain because your hero is not like her? Because your
I
hero
think it's
is a
more the
white.
latter. I think it's more
Yeah,
the latter. And I think it's like that, not just with Angel Reese, with a lot of great athletes that are very, very, emotional about what they do. That's why a lot of boxing fans didn't like Floyd, right? Because Floyd was great, but they didn't like like the other things that he brought. I feel like this, and you guys know how it is in sports. You can say whatever you want to say in respect of the game when you're winning.
Right.
Celebrating, doing whatever. That's if you don't want to see that happen as an opposing opponent, don't allow them to win. And that's why so many people didn't like Floyd as spectators of the sport, because Floyd was a little more boastful than what they wanted to see. And their favorite boxer was not like that. You know what I mean? So when it came to Angel Reese, some of her antics wasn't unnormal, but they just didn't like it from her because their favorite women's basketball player did it the opposite way. And I think that kind of put that villain character trait on her, because people are like, oh, she talks a lot, she does this, she act like she's big and bad and things like that. And now, yeah, she's the villain because most of these other girls are not doing what they're doing. She comes from a different, as you stated, she comes from an area where she had to be like that.
but Matt, they treated her like she was Draymond.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Angel Reese wasn't punching on people and fighting people and all that.
She
Like
was
Angel Reese played.
backing her game up. As
Angel couldn't do anything right, because remember when they got in the little tussle against South Carolina SEC tournament, they talked bad about her because she ain't run off the bench. Like, it was like, well, she can't do nothing right. Because she would have jumped in and got herself suspended. Oh, now she's this. Now she's that. Yeah, she proved us right. I think she's, she a fighter, a thug, or whatever the case may be, whatever they might have used to describe her, but she couldn't do anything right. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I didn't. I think when you look at our country as a whole, that was what was really cool about this entire tournament. Even when you think about L. Duncan, Andrea Carter, and Chide Mbumike, right?
mhm.
Having an opportunity to be where they were and be the pregame and halftime and post-game show, them getting opportunity to shine, Dawn Staley eventually shining, Angel Reese, all of that. It's given Black women an opportunity to be seen in many different lights. And we've gotten to see all different shades and colors and ways that they move, the way that they could be, and show that like there's a multitude of ways to be a strong Black woman.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was, and I love that about the women's tournament. And to me, that's that's a part of why Dawn Staley made sure to call out in a positive way, obviously, Caitlyn Clark,
Caitlyn.
to
Yeah. That was
ask
so
for
professional.
extra time, right? To
Yeah.
ask for extra time because of Caitlyn, more eyes are on South Carolina. Because of Caitlyn, more eyes are on LSU. Because of Caitlyn, more eyes are on Sinead, Andrea, and Elle. Because of Caitlyn Clark,
Yeah.
and you can't deny that. And now what happened was because ESPN invested in pushing the women's game forward, and they had a Caitlyn Clark, you can't do every special on her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't do every interview on her. So now you're bringing in the Jujus, the Audie Crooks from Iowa State. And there are all these stories that we're getting to find out about these young ladies that are truly beautiful stories that people will invest in if you just put the time into it. So I thought the whole thing was cool. I thought the Acho part of it was it's very Acho of him,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like everybody. I try to tell people this all the time. Expectations are the leading cause of disappointment. I don't really expect anything different from him because I know him, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I
Yep.
just know how he thinks. I know how he is, and so to me, like I wasn't like emotional about it, but I do think it's a great teaching moment of how responsible we have to be and accountable we have to be for our words in doing this job.
No question. No question. Well said. Well said. Well, let's transition to our sport. Football,
Yeah.
right? Let's
Yeah.
transition to our sport, man. RC, you've been, extremely vocal about the new quarterback situation there in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. So
Yeah.
which quarterback do you
Justin?
think you are you in my mind? Do you know something I don't know?
Justin.
I don't know what question you're going to ask. I just wanted to be Justin.
Whoever it is, whatever question I'm asking, you want it to be Justin Fields. Okay,
Yeah,
so
man.
with that being said, why do you believe Justin Fields will earn the majority of the first team reps as a starting quarterback for the Steelers?
I think Russell Wilson will start the season.
Okay.
Too. Y'all boys know how it is, especially with like the way the offseason is now. It's hard. I don't believe Russell Wilson is going to be so bad from the beginning of OTAs until the first game that he loses the job.
Yeah. It's hard for a vet to lose their job during OTAs.
What are we not even playing real football? Yeah. And then with the way preseason is and the amount of reps that they get, I just don't think that Justin will be able to overtake him. I just feel like if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, that has to be what you want to happen, right? You have to want the younger, more talented person to eventually become the starter. Now, the hard part is, right, that maybe Russell never plays bad enough to not be the starter. Right? And so there's going to have to come a time in this season where Russell Wilson is playing solid football, where the team is playing good football, and you say, I want great quarterback play. I want dynamic quarterback play, and I want a team that's playing better than good football. And I believe, and I only think that that's possible in our time, BMac, that's not possible. That's not the way we did business. Omar Khan, different, bro.
Yeah.
Omar walking around like Omar from The Wire now.
Whistling.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he whistling. You know what I'm saying? Everybody running and scattering when he comes around. And I think at some point they're going to want to see with this young fourth-year quarterback that has this high level of skill and talent can do with the George Pickens, can do with the Freiermuth, can do with the Warren and Harris in the backfield, right? They got to go out and get another one, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe Brian Thomas right here at LSU is around at the time that they picked. So they got to go out and get another guy to add because you've lost Deontay Johnson. But I just think, man, that eventually Justin Fields is going to get his opportunity to play, get his opportunity to start, because they're going to have to figure, like, how long can Russell Wilson be the answer? Right? They're going to have to figure out who their quarterback of the future is. And I just think that it would be a lot better for Arthur Smith, the offense coordinator, Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, if that answer is already in the quarterback room in the form of Justin Fields.
Assuming there's a clean bill of health for the Pittsburgh Steelers, what do you see the ceiling for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024?
Bro, the AFC North, is hell, ain't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But I'll say this, RC, and you know this, just following the sport, as a retired player, the AFC North over the last few years has been extremely competitive. But it's something about the Pittsburgh Steelers that find ways to beat those teams in their division.
Yeah, it's called Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
I mean,
division of labor, baby.
Yeah. In the division, they always find a way to. They might lay an egg against some other team outside the AFC North, but in the division, they've always found a way.
But that matters as well, though, right? When we get to see people like the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson dominate in the division, outside of the division, even though they do struggle with the Pittsburgh Steelers, it puts you in positions where you're that wild card team playing against someone else on their home field week one of the playoffs. A lot of times having your tail at home after those weekends, so you got to be better than that. You also need stellar quarterback play because you have two-time MVP Lamar Jackson. You have Joe Burrow, who's already been to a Super Bowl, and you have Deshaun Watson, who in his last game against Baltimore, I was like, like he might be back, right? Like you look at that comeback with the hurt shoulder, with the ankle, I was like, if he start playing like that with what Cleveland has, they could be trouble. Now you add Jerry Jeudy to that as well. And so I think it's a team that's going to be fighting for a wild card spot again. But that's why that quarterback play is important. Because with that quarterback play, now you look on the other side, Joey Porter Jr., young Peasy could be a star at the corner, right? He's gonna travel with number one. You add Dante Jackson to that. I want to see if defensively they say, Dante, we're gonna move you inside a little bit as well, right? Let you play inside, because they were searching for that person to be there. So, if they can get healthy on defense. I think TJ Watt's the best defensive player in the NFL. I think Mika being healthy is important. This is a team that's going to compete for a playoff spot, but the quarterback play could take it from competing to me from a wild card to competing to win the division.
No.
And that's what's important. From what I hear, Kenny Pickett actually had an opportunity to compete there, and he didn't want it. So now he's just going to be a lifelong backup.
Did you say lifelong backup?
Lifelong backup.
Yes.
Hey, so going back to Justin, do you think, because I had the opportunity to be in the division with him,
They're just like, okay.
I had the opportunity to be in the division with Justin. Do you think he's shown enough, though, to NFL execs or to Pittsburgh, because that's who got him right now, who made the trade for him, to be a bona fide quarterback? Because that's been the big question mark thus far in his career.
No, and I say that because the market would have been different.
Facts.
Right? Like I can tell you what the film showed me, especially toward the end of last season, and watching him play with the one bona fide receiver he had in DJ Moore, the connection they were able to have, the connection he has with Cole Kmet, who was also a very good pass receiving tight end. And I can pick some of those things apart, but I also know he takes a lot of sacks. I also know he doesn't protect the ball in the pocket. And so, no, I don't think he has shown enough. But we all know, too, it's about like the people around you.
Yes.
Right? Do the people around you allow you to be your best self? Take Baker Mayfield now in Tampa. He had the 1 year in Cleveland where he played well. Now he shows you in Tampa that he can be a quarterback that leads you to a playoff. I believe Justin Fields is extremely talented, man. I just do.
I agree.
And I always have believed that. I believe he has a strong arm. He can obviously run but it's going to be about, can you pick up offenses? Can you get the football out of your hands? Can you make the smart play? Can you win the big games in the critical football moments? And so he still has a lot to prove. But to answer your point, your question very to the point, Pat P, no, he hasn't proven to these teams. And that's why they were able to get him for the price they were able to get him at.
Mhm.
And now while he's starting as the backup in Pittsburgh, not the starter.
And one thing I think I'm optimistic about with Justin, RC, Pat P, is that we've seen flashes though.
Yeah, we've seen
We've seen moments where you're like, oh wow. Even going back to 2022, towards the latter part of the season when he was healthy.
It was always around week 12 when he seemed like he hit that stride.
Yeah, we were like, uh-oh, boy.
Right.
With the mobility and then the plays he was making with his arm. And then we saw flashes a little bit last year as well. So that's one thing to harp on. And I think the atmosphere there in Chicago, the structure or the lack thereof wasn't supporting him as a player.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why we're starting to see a turnover on the offensive side. Luke Getsy and Justin Fields wasn't meshing as a quarterback and play caller, right? And that's important. That's important, for quarterbacks, young quarterbacks to develop and grow in the manner that we believe they could go. That play caller has to be right there in his hip pocket. They got to be best friends. They got to be able to coexist with each other. And I think we didn't see that. And I think being in a more stable environment offensively in Pittsburgh could help Justin Fields become the guy that RC believes he can become in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform.
Yeah.
I sure hope so.
Hey, RC, in other news, Houston, we got a problem. Houston are stacking up right now. My boy BMac stated early on throughout this week that Houston right now is the second best team to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, wow.
RC, how do you feel about the Houston Texans right now with all of the additions that they have added to their team?
I said that, RC. I did.
The Houston Texans right now are Cincinnati Bengals in Joe Burrow's second year. They're that team. They're that team that has a quarterback who plays with experience beyond his years, has a leadership quality about him that makes people follow him. And now you have a skill position room in the wide receivers that has Nico Collins, who played as like a number one at times last year, especially down the stretch. You have Stephon Diggs, who showed you year after year after year he's a number one, can consistently beat the best defender on the other side of the ball. And Tank Dell, that until he got hurt last year, probably had the best chemistry with C.J. Stroud. Now you add to that Dalton Schultz signs an extension. You go get Joe Mixon, who I know you already know this, Pat P. If you don't stand next to Joe Mixon, you don't realize how big he is.
Yes.
And strong.
Yes.
He's a big physical runner. And this is a team that had no run game last year. So offensively, they're absolutely dynamic. And so I think I agree with you on that, BMac. Offensively, they're the team to me that are closest to the Kansas City Chiefs because we know what the quarterback can do. Now it's protect him. Because when you go back to the Ravens game, people got open. He was just under pressure the entire game. And for a large part of the year, you're able to do that. But now I can turn around, hand the ball off. That leads to play action. Now you think defensively, I think they went out and they got Akuda, right, to play the other corner. We saw Derek Stingley bring back some of that freshman year Sting.
Finally.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he brought
healthy Sting.
Yeah, healthy Sting played some of the football we expected to see him when he was drafted third overall. Christian Harris, to me, is one of the young stars in the league. BMac. So he went to high school with Jordan.
Oh, he did?
Right? Yeah, first of all, Jordan was cheating. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But in high school, BMac, he was 6'1.5", 6'2", 220, and he played corner, receiver, and returner.
What?
Yeah.
Corner, receiver, and returner.
Yeah, bro. Every time they kicked it to him, he scored a touchdown.
Yeah, he's too big, too fast to tackle.
Every single time. And so it was so cool to watch him obviously play now, man, and play so well. And now you add rushers to that team outside of having Will Anderson Jr. on the other side, bro. They are they're doing what you got to do, though, Mac and Pat P. It's like, oh, we got one of them ones at quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we only going to have him for cheap for the next 3 years.
Go get all you need right now.
Yep.
At some point, we're going to have to give him $300 million. Like, they know it. You know what I'm saying? So they like, let's go try to win it now.
Yeah.
I agree.
And another nugget, a lot of people, just don't know is that this is the first time ever in history in the NFL, a team in free agency added a 1,000-yard rusher, a 1,000-yard receiver, and a double-digit sack guy.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't
They
know
added
that.
2 double-digit sack guys this year.
They got Danico Audrey
So
as
they
well.
got Daniil. Yeah.
And yes. So when you factor in everything they've been able to add to already a real good team last year, and that's the thing that I love with the atmosphere, the environment they're building. This was a solid team without Stephon Diggs, because I felt like if they didn't add Stephon Diggs, they still would be a team that could compete with the likes of Kansas City and the Baltimore Ravens. But they added Stephon Diggs, and they still got resources in the draft they can use to improve their team. They got 2 second-round picks because they don't give that second rounder to Buffalo until next year, 2025.
Yeah. So here's my question to both of you that you can probably answer. How different, though, is it to watch the way they're moving now as opposed to the way they moved the 2 years prior, where you knew David Culley and both Lovie Smith were lame duck coaches? I felt like at that point, Houston was the place people didn't want to go. So how much different is it seeing the way they're moving now?
Well, I think what makes a destination attractive to vets is the coach. That's number one. And number two is the quarterback. Right. Offensively or defensively. If you're an offensive player, clearly the quarterback is important. But even if you're a defensive guy, the quarterback is still important, especially if you're a vet. Yeah, because Daniil Hunter actually took less to go to Houston. There was another team, either 1 or 2 teams that were offering more money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but he decided to go take a little less, even though he got a great deal. I mean, he got a great deal.
But why they didn't guarantee the whole deal?
They didn't want to guarantee the extra $1 million. RC. They didn't want to do that. That was a little bit overpriced. That extra $1 million, they gave him 48 instead of giving 49. First world problems, right? So, like, throw that extra $1 million in there, just guarantee the whole thing. Give me a Kirk Cousins type deal. But I think that's what we're seeing, because when you have a coach like D'Amico Ryans, with all of us, have played the game, Pat, you're still active. When you have a coach that's relatable to the players, that instantly demands respect without asking for respect. You know how it was when we in the locker room. We all played for Coach T. He was relatable to us. So with that being said, it was easy for us to respect him because he relates to us and he understands and he coaches with that same mindset. D'Amico is establishing the same thing, creating that same culture in the locker room, because the way those guys play, they play for him.
Yeah.
You guys know when you see a team, you can instantly tell if this team loves their coach.
Yeah. 100%.
They play for him. So now you got other guys that, because Stephon, I heard Stephon was already inquiring about trying to get to Houston well before this trade actually happened, because he understands what's being built there, and they got a quarterback and they got a coach that he feels like that's a guy I want to play for. So now, as you mentioned, when you have a rookie quarterback, you still got 3 years to pay him on a rookie scale. Yeah, people want to gravitate to that, because if you got a head coach, you got a quarterback. Pat, you a veteran right now. You unsigned. Do you want to go to a situation where they don't have a quarterback?
We got to have a quarterback, coach.
Yeah, you went through that last year.
What about my favorite quote from Herm Edwards? What did he say? Football.
Man, if you really haven't heard from Herm Edwards, if you don't have a quarterback, that field feels like it's 150 yards.
Hey, that was such a true statement, boy.
RC, you know that feeling. Me and Pat P, we talk about it all the time. You know that feeling, RC. As soon as you come to the sideline from giving in your forcing a punt, you sit down. Punt team, get ready. Huh?
Punt team.
We just sat down.
Dang.
We hit a first down.
Hey, BMac. We won a Super Bowl like that sometime now. So.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And we.
Hey, RC, to answer your question, I agree with everything what Max says. It definitely has to be the head coach. a player's relatable coach, because like Max said, when you turn on the film and you see your team going, all out, like the San Francisco 49ers, like Baltimore Ravens, you can tell that they're playing for their coach.
Heck,
So
Dan Campbell and the Lions.
Dan Campbell, another one, you know what I mean? So you can tell that they're playing for their coach. So I think it's definitely the coach and the culture that he is able to build during his time there that want guys to be a part of it. Because you obviously want to be around like football minds. You just want to obviously, go to work just to be shooting the shit. You obviously you coming in to win, and you want to be around like-minded guys. And when you find a head coach, you see a coach like that on television that's fighting for every little inch for his guys, you be like, all right, that coach got my back. I might want to rock with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And when you look at the free agency, of course, we talked about Stephon getting traded to Houston. Which free agency move for you, RC, do you believe we will all be talking about in January of next year?
I mean, it's probably like the low-hanging fruit, but I think it has to be Kirk Cousins. And here's why. No, I don't believe getting Kirk on your team wins you a Super Bowl. That's not what I believe. But I do believe it makes you viable offensively. It can make you good offensively. And if you're Raheem Morris, you don't have to win a Super Bowl this year, but you got to win. Right? And so his thinking was, I don't have a quarterback in here. I need someone that can put me in the playoffs. I need someone that can help me win the NFC South. I need someone that they could say, with him, I get to keep my job. Now, you have Kirk 2 or 3 years, you win the NFC South, you get to the playoffs. You can go find your next quarterback in the draft if you need to. But right now, Kirk Cousins buys you time. Kirk Cousins doesn't get you fired in 2 years.
Right.
And so when you look at the underperforming of Kyle Pitts, of Drake London, and now I would hope that somebody says, you know what? When Bijan Robinson has the ball, he's actually kind of good.
Yep.
Right? I think that this team now becomes, to me, the front runner to win the NFC South, where last year they were in competition, right? Last year they fought. This year they get to win it. And so I think that that's just a huge move to me. And I also want to see what the Saquon Barkley move in Philadelphia does. Because, and it's not that I think it's such a big move, Pat P and BMac. This is a team that has had runners be very good the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Question.
Right, Miles Sanders.
Runners that didn't have a name like Saquon.
Yeah, Miles Sanders is really good. DeAndre Swift went for over 1,200 when Brian Johnson gave him the ball. So I want to see if the thought for Kellen Moore as a new offense coordinator is, this is our Christian McCaffrey. Right? We're going to use him to take the weight off of Jalen Hurts. Right? We're going to let Jalen get it out of his hands sometimes. We're going to get the matchups with the linebackers at the slot position. We're going to use him in motion, put him in the backfield. If they use him as a chess piece like that, that could be the biggest move of the offseason. If you're just going to turn around and hand it to him like it's zone read, I've seen Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift do that. We could have saved money.
Right. So speaking of you saying you believe that Kirk Cousins will be the biggest improvement on his team out of the free agents. So what head coach and quarterback is under the most pressure in the 2024 season?
That's easy. That's easy. The Dallas duo. It's the Dallas duo.
Yeah.
You think so?
BMac. Yes. Mike McCarthy finna be reading analytics in his pajamas at his house. What are you saying? Dak don't have no contract. CD doesn't have a contract. Micah doesn't have a contract.
Okay.
Everybody got to get money. They're on the last year of their deal, right, Mac?
Yep.
If Dak plays well, right? If Dak plays well, you're gonna owe him $65 million a year, right?
Yep.
And you're gonna owe him $65 million a year, and they ain't winning a Super Bowl this year, man. They ain't good enough.
Yep.
But what you could do is Go on, push Mike McCarthy out of there with his little 1 year, because they ain't gonna win the NFC East. Gonna let Dak get his $65 million somewhere else, and just bring in Deion Sanders and Shador Sanders right into the door. Deion already said
What Deion gonna do?
he gonna be the head coach. The head coach. What do you mean? That don't make sense to you?
But Prime
Deion
said he
already-
don't want to coach in the NFL though.
Deion
He said he
already
don't want-
said.
Prime said he don't want to coach in the NFL. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm
Because
telling
he
you what
also
Prime
said
said.
he wasn't gonna leave. He also said he wasn't gonna leave Jack State yet.
I never believed that.
Yeah,
I always knew he
we-
Oh, so you believe this at Colorado?
Yeah.
I kind of do, because it's different
kinda-
personalities in the locker room in the
Yes.
NFL, as you know, RC. It's
Yeah.
especially
Matt-
in today's game, the personalities are super different.
You think the personalities are worse than these boys in college on this NIL?
I think so, because
Right.
Prime still can control those guys.
Yeah.
They will listen,
Bro.
you know what I mean, because of who he
Yeah,
is.
and they're not there yet.
But
The NFL,
so you think less people gonna listen to Prime than listen to Matt LaFleur? Matt LaFleur seems to be doing fine.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So less people
the-
gonna listen to Prime. That's gonna listen to Kevin Stefanski.
the
Come on, man. And
The
listen,
LaFleur
I think those guys are
situation-
really good coaches. Those guys are really good coaches, and I use them because they're winning. Right? Matt LaFleur won with Jordan Love without
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski won with freaking Joe Flacco.
Okay. So my thing is this with Prime. When you coach collegiately, you can go get whoever it is you want. And we
Right.
know Prime is the ultimate car salesman. The
Yeah.
recruiting that he does is huge, it's major. In the NFL, it's not about recruiting, it's about what you have available money-wise and whoever wants to join your program also. College, I come to RC, I sit down, talk to your parents, I sell you a pitch. 9 times out of 10, I'm Deion Sanders. I walk out, you really highly thinking about
Right.
coming to
For
Colorado.
sure.
Mhm.
For sure.
So that's something I don't know if he's ready to transition into that phase in the NFL where it's not really about recruiting anymore either.
Where did he live before he went to Jackson State?
You giving us a lot of cool
Yeah.
nuggets. I'm
Keep nuggets.
Texas, Dallas, if not mistaken,
Dallas.
not far
Lived in-
from Dallas.
Lived in Dallas. All right.
Yeah, played
My
for the
son-
Cowboys.
My son could only go to a certain few teams.
So, but also too, one thing I'll say this right now in regards to that theory, RC, the Cowboys won't be bad enough
Yeah.
to go get Shador.
Unless
You
they
know,
get some coach.
I do think that, but the Cowboys lost 5 starters, didn't replace any of them.
So, are you trying to insinuate that there could be some tanking going on? Not directly, but
No, I would never. I respect the Joneses too much
okay.
to ever say that. I don't believe that. But what I'm saying is, we ain't trying to do a lot of improving.
They got some up their sleeve. They got to.
BMac, they said they're going all in, and they didn't do nothing.
Jerry said that they've lost more players than they've gained.
Thank you. Hey guys, when Shador is there next year, and I come back on All Things Covered, we're just gonna replay it. We're just gonna replay what RC
I'm
said,
gonna tip my brim to you.
Yep.
and that's all I want.
Respect. I think it'll be great. I mean, I think Shador is one of the best quarterbacks in college football this upcoming season. I think he's going to play to that level. I think he's going to be a high round pick. You know what I mean? And if the Cowboys, let's say hypothetically speaking, they're like right outside the top 10. You know,
You can move up.
It's doable.
Right.
You don't have to salvage the future to go.
BMac, he's got to be like 11. They're 11. Who says Shador is going to be 1? He might be the 3, the 2. Bam.
And also, too, whoever's picking 1 or 2 might not really be as high on him as the Cowboys. All you need is one team. I got a quarterback head coach option for you guys. And the reason why I kind of disagree with the most pressure to the Cowboys with McCarthy and Dak is because what you said, Ryan, is that we all know they're not winning the Super Bowl anyway.
No.
Right? And when you talk about not having expectations, when you don't have any expectations, you don't have any room for disappointment either.
It's got to be Buffalo, Baltimore then.
No, the Jets.
Jets.
Yeah.
Oh, Mac.
The Jets. The reason why I say that, hold on, just hear me out, RC. Hear me out, Pat P.
I'm
Hear
listening.
me out. Can I give you my why?
I'm listening. Let me hear you.
My why is this. the Jets have been looking for some type of stability at the quarterback position
Forever.
since what? Chad Pennington, the Mark Sanchez first year or so, when it was just basically handing off, running the football.
Man. Mark Sanchez.
They've been trying to get the quarterback situation right for such a long time. They had it right last year. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, right? If Aaron Rodgers is healthy this season and the Jets don't even make the playoffs, it's safe to say Robert Saleh probably is gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's pressure. When you talk about that,
So Mike McCarthy about to be gone? Ain't no pressure?
Mike McCarthy is going to be gone regardless.
Yeah.
They have to go to the Super Bowl for him to keep his job. And you just stated that ain't happening. So we already know how that's going to play out, RC.
Okay.
They're about to fire him this year.
They're about to fire him. Mike McCarthy is a sitting duck unless they get to New Orleans and play in the Super Bowl. And that ain't happening. So for me, that's like we already know what's going to happen with the Dallas Cowboys. Either your theory comes correct, they might entertain the Deion Sanders, type at the head coach, maybe Bill Belichick. Belichick is going to be coaching next year also. Right? Either he's going to coach for Dallas or the Giants, in my opinion. Because Brian Daboll is probably going to be fired also. Yeah. That's how I see it. Yeah, Brian Daboll's out.
You always fire people on all things covered.
Do you see him?
No. You know Brian Daboll about to be up out of there, RC. If they could have got rid of him this year, they would have.
I really like him too.
I do. I don't know. It's something I keep hearing bad things coming from their building in his coaching system for some reason. I don't know.
They say the man ain't good to work with, man. That's what they say.
Well, Brian Daboll need to thank Daniel Jones if he doesn't have a job with the Giants next year, because that's going to play a part in them not being successful quarterback.
Yep.
So, yeah. But in regards to the Jets, if the Jets don't make the playoffs, at the bare minimum, RC, make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, what do you think is going to happen? What you think Woody going to do with his iced out piece?
Robert Saleh's gone. Aaron Rodgers is still there.
Facts. In regards to the Dallas Cowboys, you stated they're not winning the Super Bowl. That's the only thing I think could save Mike McCarthy's job is getting to a Super Bowl, because we've seen them get to the playoffs. The season doesn't start for the Dallas Cowboys until round one of the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep.
In my opinion. So that's why I throw in the Jets, because the Jets fan base, come on, RC, since we've been remembering the Jets they've been wanting and fiending for some type of elite-like quarterback play, and they got that guy now. I still think Aaron Rodgers can go. But if it doesn't work out for some reason,
Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams,
Breece
Hall.
Yeah.
They have talent. They've added Morgan Moses on the offensive line.
Smith from Dallas, though he's up there in age, he's still better than what they've had.
Yeah, if people are healthy, they should be good offensively.
Defensively, they've always been stout.
Mm-hmm. Tell me this.
I like it, man.
I love Aaron. He's definitely one of my favorite quarterbacks who I had the opportunity to play against. Do you think Aaron is all dialed in with football right now, though?
Yeah, I think so.
I think when it comes to playing football, he'll be fine.
Okay.
Like we're in a different age of athlete. Though.
Yeah, I agree.
Where athletes can be pulled in different directions and do different things than we were allowed to do even when we played.
Right.
When I started working at ESPN and actually signed a contract, like that was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
That there was going to be a player that did two things at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now, hell, Pat P, you've been doing this for years.
Mm.
Richard Sherman did it. Michael Parsons does it now.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just different than when we used to play. And if he's just going to sit up there and talk on a Tuesday with Pat McAfee, he can sit there and talk on a Tuesday. We just never heard him talk this much, but I think he's always had these thoughts. He's always been this sort of dude.
Mm.
But one thing we know, and trust me and Mac know it better than most, he can throw a football and put it wherever he wants to.
No doubt about it.
He could hand the football off 40 yards away.
Right.
And ain't nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Well said. 40 yards away is a handoff for him, man.
Yes, it's a handoff.
Hey, makes him maybe throw off his back foot too, just make it look so easy.
Yeah, he's talented, man. And so if that team gets right, I agree with you though, Mac. Robert Saleh is under a ton of pressure. I just don't think Aaron Rodgers is under the pressure that Dak is.
No.
Because Aaron is still a made man.
Yeah.
Four MVPs, a Super Bowl win, 5 NFC championships. I think Dak still has a ton more to prove, even though I believe he'll be rich beyond his wildest dreams after the season.
Yeah. Hey, RC, no question. Dak's going to get paid either from Dallas or from somebody else. He's going to get paid. Before we let you go, we want to transition to the superlative part of our show. We're going to hit you with 4 rapid-fire questions. We want your honest, unbiased answer. Pat P., you got the first one.
I got it. Top 5 safeties of all times, RC.
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
No. It's a 2-minute situation, RC.
Hell no.
They need a field goal to beat us, RC, and they no huddle, 4 quarter. Yeah. I need you to stay deep.
Okay.
Stay deep.
In no order. No.
Not
giving order.
Why not?
Troy and Ed.
Why you not? Hold on. Why? You can give us your why. You've been giving us your why the entire show.
Don't want to.
Great points.
Troy. Okay, so we're going Troy, Ed, Ronnie Lott, Sean T. The last one's hard.
Yeah. The last one's hard.
Because it has to be somebody like I've gotten to see play. My 5th would be Brian Dawkins.
No question.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, my 5th would be Brian Dawkins. Obviously, when it comes to Sean, it's going to be one of those things. It's my opinion because he didn't play long. Because he passed, but he was just so talented, man.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was revolutionary in his size and his skill and his range, his tenacity. Ed's the best middle of the field safety that's ever lived. Troy was just obviously ultimately unique in the number of things that he could do, his explosivity. Ronnie Lott just actually killed people. Like, it's just started career at corner.
He didn't play in today's game.
No, he'd be out here. Started his career at corner. And then D-Dog, I watched Brian Dawkins tape more than any other safety because obviously he was extremely talented, but the effort that he played with was what I wanted to model my game after. I said, if I could play that hard, if I could want it that much, good things going to happen. And so those would be my top 5.
All right. Good list. The top 5 best dressed analysts on TV. And rank this.
Matt, that's like Dylon. Ryan.
That's a sensitive little subject there with Dylon.
Dylon said it ruined his career. No, Dylon. Walking to get cheesecake ruined your career. Your career was ruined then, bro. Let's see.
So RC won.
Yeah, I won. Let me start from the back end. All right, so Stephen A's been working harder this year. I'm gonna give Stephen A.
slimmed up, so the suit game fitting him a little better now.
So we're gonna go Stephen A. 5.
Yep.
4. Who's 4? Okay, wait, I got 3. 3 is Shay Sharp, 2 Nate Burleson, 1 RC. Who would be 4?
There's 5.
Gotta be 5 is Stephen A.
So we need.
Put Stephen A. We're gonna put Stephen A. at 4. Who's 5, man? There gotta be a white guy that's out here clean, huh, BMac? Taylor Twyman. I think his name is Twelman. He does soccer.
Yeah. Soccer? Oh, yeah.
Soccer?
Yeah.
Taylor's fly.
I was going to say, what's the dude that the white guy that does inside NBA on TNT sometimes? He fills in for Ernie.
Adam.
Yeah.
I go Adam at 4. We're going to move Taylor out.
His shoe game be on point. And he's short, so they had the little footstool for him underneath the table so you really see.
We'll go
the
Adam at 5. And he does the show with Shaq too, the big podcast or whatever it is. Yeah. So Adam at 5, Stephen A. 4, Shay Sharp 3, Nate 2, RC 1.
Who are David guess on the pivot and why?
Oh, we've been asked this question before. I think
we got to get on the pivot one day, man. We got to.
You guys are more. I would love that. So I would say I would go Mike T because of what the show meant to me, but it's impossible to actually answer this question correctly and not say Michael Beasley. I think It's the reason our show is what it is today. I think it's the reason people come on our show and are vulnerable and are open and are willing to share with us things that they've gone through, things they've had to overcome, is because of the sensitivity in which we handled Michael's interview. Right? Because, you guys do this. You come with a set of questions, but you don't know what people are going to say.
Right.
Right? And it's our job to react, ask questions, to be there. And in a moment, he made us stop doing a show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't doing a show anymore. I was like genuinely concerned for him. I wanted him to be okay. I wanted him to know that we were there for him. I wanted him to know that we are no longer. I wanted him to also know this ain't a show anymore, bro. Like, this is just about 3 dudes who are sitting down with you who actually care that you can get this out, can have a conversation, can share it in a safe space for you. So yeah, for sure, man, Mike was my favorite show because I think it's the most important show to have built our platform.
Have you guys stayed in contact with Beasley?
But I hear Mike all the time. Sometimes he returns, a lot of times he doesn't. But like that part too, though, I understand because like before sitting down that night, like I wasn't your friend.
No question.
Right? You can't. So I don't take it personal, but also to me, it's important that we do though, and that we did, and that we tried because we said we would.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I said in front of a camera, I would check in on you. If you don't reply, then that's fine. You don't owe me that, right? But because I said I do it, I do owe you that.
No question. I say all of us coming from an athletic world or just from being a man, we're indirectly taught to not ask for help.
Yes.
Or share what we have going on. That's just how we're indirectly taught when it comes to being a man, when it comes to being in sports. You know, I can't be in a game and I'm like, RC, man, I can't cover this guy today. I need you to help me. No, I'm not doing that. Even if I feel that way, I'm not saying it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? So when we get in life, when we're going through things, we might have a lot going on and it's hard to say, yo, bro, I just need to talk to you. Or just listen to me. You know what I mean? And that was great to see him open up to 3 guys that he wasn't really, it wasn't like how our relationships are.
No, I agree.
Yeah, that was dope to see that. So that was you guys have been killing anyway. I think my favorite one, I'm gonna just throw mine out there anyway, is the Kevin Hart joint.
Oh yeah, that's
just from a comical side, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
when you talk about
it's probably the most entertaining show. You know what it is though, Mac, bro? Like when you have Kevin on the show, like you actually don't have to work. It's Kevin Hart. Like, this is like he's actually built a multi-million-dollar brand on being this. So literally, I just had to sit there, right? Because like I could have been like, "Hey, man, tell me about that 412 on your shirt." He would totally ignore that and answer the question he wanted to answer anyway. Say what he wanted to say anyway. Because he's Kevin Hart. Like, he's entertaining. When Channing started talking about the nudist colony, Channing was actually trying to set up another question. But when he heard that, he clicked into Kevin Hart. Like, what'd you say? You know what I mean? Yes, like when you have people like that, man, it's a layup. But it's cool though. Like the thing I love is we've gotten to interview so many people who are so successful that we get to give them their flowers, right? Dawn Staley just won the championship. We sat with her last June.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right? So when you get to watch it and watch this person who you've been, we were in her office, we sat with her, talked about her girls that she was trying to recruit for the upcoming season. I just lost 5 players. We had those conversations, not only sitting down on camera, but off camera, right? She walked us down to the gym. And so you do all those things, you know what she's been going through, how she's working. You get this, like, you grow this affinity for her, and you're watching and you're like, wait, I need her to win. I want her to win.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And like the other hard part, think about this, bro. Like, we did Israel Adesanya before he fought Alex Pereira, and he's winning until the 5th round, and then he gets knocked out, and I'm heartbroken. I was already an Izzy fan, but you just gave us an hour of your time during training camp.
Yeah.
Like, I'm invested now.
Right.
So, like, that's what's really cool about doing the show, man, getting to know these people, getting to cheer for them, getting to see them grow.
Yeah, no doubt. My last one for you, we're going to let you go. Last question. Super Bowl 59 in your home state, RC, Pat P,
Yeah.
the state you play college ball. Super Bowl 59 will be who? Which two teams will be playing in Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans?
Are we really going to continue a life where we continue to bet against Patrick Mahomes?
I wouldn't say bet against him, but
Like, are we still going to do that?
No.
Like, is that a thing?
Pat Mahomes is the
He'll
GOAT.
be there. So who's
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
Pat,
Hold
hey,
on.
Pat, I know, right? Like,
who's
Hold on,
gonna be on it?
hold on, Pat. Wait a minute, Pat. Hold on, Pat. I'm not gonna sit here and say I agree with RC. I'm
the
not betting
Houston
against
Texans-
him,
the
but I don't
Houston
think he's gonna
Texans
get there this
and
year.
Green Bay Packers.
Who?
The Houston
Houston
Texans
Texans
play the
will
Green
go.
Bay Packers.
Me and you we're thinking of like AFC, RC. I got Houston as well. I'm going Detroit.
I can take that.
Detroit style of play can give almost any team issues on either side of the football.
Nope, I can fully accept that. I mean, Detroit's 30 minutes from being there last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan Campbell was playing Madden though. He forgot that he was actually coaching on the sideline. He was playing Madden, and that's the thing. He got to get out of that Brandon Staley mode of always
Yeah.
reviewing the analytics.
Yep.
He got to get out of
did.
that.
Like I
He
love
does.
being aggressive, but like it's called smart aggressive. Like you gotta be like you just can't be out there just doing stuff just to be doing stuff. Like, come on, man.
I don't think he's doing it to be doing it. I think that's the way he wants to play ball. But he has to find somebody on that staff that can say, you know what, not this time.
No.
Right.
No.
And I guess it's his style of play. But at some point, RC, in that playoff game, smart football has to come in at some
RC,
point, right?
Me and Pat B had a conversation, and I'm gonna let you go. And I know for most fans that watch the game, and I hate when announcers say, "Well, analytics are saying you should go for it." No, stop that. Analytics have never been hit in the mouth on a slant route. They ain't been blocked their body. That never happened. But in playoff football, as you know, RC, playoff football in the NFL, it goes to the fourth quarter. That fourth quarter is usually the deciding quarter in what happens. You being a former player in the game, having an opportunity to go up 17 points. If Dan Campbell was to ask you, RC, if you were a part of the Lions defense, RC, should we go for it? What would you have said?
At that point?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, coach, I'm rocking with you.
I'm saying give us 17
No,
points.
you're not. You know why?
Why?
Here's why. Because on second down against the Los Angeles Rams in the first round of the playoffs, when everybody else in the world would have run the ball, you threw it to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and we never had to go back on the field. Last year, on fourth down, you put our left tackle in motion.
That was against us.
Yeah, you put our left tackle in motion, throwing the ball in the flat, and we won the game.
Mm-hmm.
Against the Green Bay Packers on Lambeau Field to ice the game, you ran a hook and ladder on second down or on third down, and we got off the field. You ain't got them all right, but you've got a lot of them right. And you've been this way since you walked in the door. When we won 3 games the first year, you were this way. When we were 1-6 the second year, and you brought us back and we won, 8 out of the last 9 games, you were this way. When we won the NFC North Championship for the first time in however many years,
31
won it. We won it with you being this way. And so if we gonna lose, I'm gonna lose with you being the way that you are, because you made us when we couldn't win a game. You made us believe in us before we were good enough to believe in ourselves. And I ain't gonna turn on you now. So if you want me to strap this helmet up and you want me to go play football, I'm gonna go play football. Because what I know, here's what I know.
What you know?
Here's what I know. And if you tell me I'm wrong, BMac, I'll change my mind. Whether Mike Tomlin, Bill Cowher kicks the ball when we're up 14 to go up 17, or he goes for it and we miss it and we're up 14, as we're walking on the field, Ryan Clark, Bryant McFadden, Troy Polamalu, Casey Hampton, Chris Hokie, Brett Kiesel, Pot Dog, Footy, LT, you know what we saying? It really don't matter because they can't score 14 points on us anyway.
hold on, wait a minute, RC. Yeah, you're right. But
15-point
this is
lead.
the great thing about RC and most of our relationships when we played in the Steelers with the Steelers. We had these type of conversations all the time in breaks.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it would be these type conversations.
Toxic masculinity is what we are.
or when the offense is going against scout team defense, we sit on our helmets and we break it. We talking like this. But yes, you're right, RC. But their defense the entire season wasn't really like that. It wasn't really like that. That's the thing. You know they were gonna give up something. It was going to be a matter of time before that
down the field, a big play lot, bound to happen.
was gonna blow something. Detroit was doing all. They'll make plays and give up a whole lot. Yep. And that's why I feel like everything you stated with Dan Campbell, you're dead on. He's coached a certain way since day one.
Yeah.
But coaching that way in week 17, coaching that way in the first round of the playoffs is totally different when you're coaching and you're one game away from the Super Bowl. And that's why I feel like if you're Dan Campbell, your defense was already exceeding the expectations so far in that ball game. You knew it was just a matter of time for them to, before these holes started to surface, go up 17. Because you know, and Pat Pete, when you miss the opportunity like that, the momentum instantly shifts in favor of the best team in the NFC at that time.
Yeah. The second one was strange, but coming into that game, I don't know if y'all noticed or not, it was more likely they would convert the fourth down try the first time than the kicker actually making it based on his percentages.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a 40.
46.
It was 46.
46. Yeah.
So the numbers were, and honestly too, like Jared Goff, throw the ball a little bit to your left, Josh Reynolds catch it. Like sometimes too, BMac, it comes down to executing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? But no, I agree with you. There's gonna have to be some things different, you know. Like just because you wanted to go for 2 against Dallas, eventually you can kick it if you like. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely some adjustments he can make to his aggression.
In that Cowboy situation, he still went for 2, and they moved him back 10 yards. Like, that's Coach, what are we doing? Like, you still go for 2? Now, I know good and well his players on the side like, oh, Coach tripping now.
Right.
I wouldn't do this on the video game. I'm kicking the extra point.
Ready to go home, man. He wasn't trying to play overtime. He ready to go home, get back to Detroit.
He was trying to get back to the crib. No question. No question. But hey, RC, man, listen, man, once again, man, thank you for giving us your time.
No doubt.
Great candid conversation. LSU great, 13-year NFL vet, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champ with the Pittsburgh Steelers, ESPN football analyst, soon to be director on this new docuseries. It's a documentary or docuseries? Documentary. Host of the Pivot podcast. You got your suit line out, by the way. Shouts out to Andre. You know what I mean? He did my Super Bowl suit. Pat
I liked it too. The blue joint. I like it.
I felt like a bag of money. I feel like a bag of money, Pat P. Yes, sir.
I saw you with the two-tone. I saw you, Cat.
RC, I had to go. Hey, I saw RC rocking something. I said, hold on. RC, what you got on? You know, RC gave me. He was the plug like Plies was. He was the plug.
When he sent it to me, when he sent me the first one, BMac, I was kind of looking at it and I was like, okay, I haven't been seen or done anything like this. I was like, so I let it sit in the closet for like a month first. And I said, all right, Dre, I'm gonna wear this. Now these people laugh me out of the studio, I'm gonna be pissed off.
Yeah.
And man, you know, and I wore it the first time, people felt it. So we've done some different things. Wait till y'all see what I got for this Super Bowl though.
Or in New Orleans.
No, I'm sorry, for the draft. I apologize.
Yeah,
draft.
Okay.
I can't
wait to check it out, man.
No question.
Gotcha.
Heck, I'm already fast forward. I was thinking about Super Bowl already because I already know.
That's about me too.
in New Orleans, no question. I already know. But draft, man. But hey, all our viewers, I know you guys are gonna comment in our comment section, man, how much you enjoyed this episode. Women's basketball, we talked it all, man. RC, man, great guy, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being the Troy of TV, as you stated.
I love y'all boys,
grow that mohawk out a little more, baby.
It's coming back. I'm bringing it back for the last time.
No question. RC, thank you once again, my guy.
All right,
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, money, 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 money. Ain't that funny? I got haters. Yeah, they watching, but I know they love me. Money, 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 money. Ain't that funny? I got haters. Yeah, they watching, but I know they love me. Riding around the city, plastic cup of C-Rock. Bigger and I'm blacker. I am on that Chris Rock.